In the 7 years since Despicable Me, Illumination Entertainment has become even more financially successful than Pixar, all while producing films that you can't really say anything about. They exist, they're big successes, and they're as bland as they come. On the heels of the 1-2 punch of The Secret Life of Pets and Sing, both launching franchises of their own, we now have Despicable Me 3. With the Minions return to the rightful side role, it certainly looks more promising than the Minions film. Let's jump in and see. So, following Despicable Me 2, Gru is an anti-villain league agent alongside his wife Lucy. When Gru fails to capture Balthazar Bratt, a former child star who grew up to become the villain he once played during the Reagan era, Gru and Lucy are promptly sacked. On the heels of this, Gru discovers that he has a long-lost twin brother, Drew, though he is less than impressed upon meeting his flamboyant, blonde-haired sibling. Drew wants Gru to return to villainy, and though Gru refuses at first, having left that life behind for his girls and now his wife, his old ways may not be as dead as he thinks. That's just the main plot, mind you. Much like the last film, Despicable Me 3 is stuffed with subplots and little bit parts too insignificant to be called as such. It's a side effect of the same problem that's plagued Ice Age more with each film. Too many characters the film has no choice but to hang on to. While it's not as big a problem here, and indeed the film does something right in how it writes out Dr. Nefario, it doesn't make the flimsy subplot with Lucy learning to be a mother any less tedious, or little Agnes' search for a real unicorn any less trivial, despite its cuteness. Thankfully, the Minions have been scaled back to comic relief after they threatened to overwhelm Despicable Me 2, presumably to keep the Minions overdose for Minions 2 down the road, though the side effect is that they contribute nothing, and I mean nothing, to the film, other than adding 8 or so minutes to a pretty short film. Getting back to the main plot, one element works and one doesn't. After 3 films, Bratt has finally given this franchise an antagonist that's enjoyable to watch, partially through Trey Parker's performance. I'm still amazed Trey Parker, of all people, is in a film like this. Anyway, the Bratt segments are mostly wacky and funny enough, and when they're not, it helps to connect the voice to Randy Marsh or one of the many other adults Parker voices on South Park. On the other hand, the Gru and Drew sequences just kinda hang there. Drew is mostly just annoying, and the voice Steve Carell's come up with for him grates pretty quickly. However it's happened, this leeches off onto Gru himself a bit, who continues to have less charm than the preceding film. And when it comes to the animation, I don't think I've had less to say on the matter for any review prior to this. If the visuals are not as dispiriting as Sing, nor are they as charming as The Secret Life of Pets, it's the same broad cartoony look pioneered with the first Despicable Me that seems less and less fresh with every film. Apart from the natural evolution of animation technology from film to film, I'm hard pressed to say anything specific. The only major change is that, much like DreamWorks and Blue Sky, Illumination seems to have switched over to their films being in the wider widescreen format. The compositions of the shots are fine, but like every other visual aspect, little to note is done with it. If it isn't clear yet, let me spell it out. With this film, Despicable Me has officially reached the point where the filmmakers have nothing to say, know they have nothing to say, and as a result throw everything in the film to reach 81 minutes when the credits roll. Which is not to say the film is completely uninspired. Bratt and his robot aid work, a decent amount of jokes land, and the subplot with Agnes works as well as their previous antics, however well that is for you. Though Margot is made a bit unlikable in this installment, though it's such a small point I doubt many will care. Clearly, audiences are starting to lose their appetite for Gru and his minions. The film's comparatively soft opening suggests they'll gross around the first $250 million in America, maybe less, and it won't approach the $1 billion grosses of Despicable Me 2 and Minions worldwide. But, with this film's economic budget, you can probably still expect yet even more from Gru and the rest. And let me say this much, the film's no Shrek the Third, thankfully. It's much closer to Madagascar 3, another case of filmmakers throwing everything they could into the film to stave off their boredom, though that one achieved a kind of weird demented freedom as a result, something Despicable Me 3 doesn't reach. At the year's start, the animated slate of 2017 looked unappealing enough that it's been easy so far to surpass my expectations for the unappealing looking films. Despicable Me 3 is the first to break that trend. It's not disappointing, it's just harmless and okay. It's still dispiriting that this is what passes for family entertainment now, especially when, way back when, the first Despicable Me suggested Illumination would keep up a reasonable quality even if they were mostly making trivial family flicks. But it's still serviceable and unobjectable, if that's what you want. Thanks for watching the review, folks. As always, I'm your host, Mike Culligan of Cartoon Karma. If you liked what you saw, leave a like or a comment, that'd be pretty neat. Subscribing would be neater. Or you can check out my other videos, where I cover animation of all shapes and sizes. Perhaps even follow the channel on Facebook and Twitter. All your choice, but it sure brings a smile to my face. Until next time, folks.